You think players are going to walk after seeing this? Yeah, probably. Because Howie Roseman has not only made this defensive line lackluster for the 24 season, but it needs a full-on rebuild in a lot of cases. Not to most of the players, but between what you're having going into next season and really analyzing the rest of this season, there is one player that's really making strides that is not going to make Howie Roseman pay for other defensive linemen that are going to walk out of Philadelphia. Let's talk about it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everyone's doing very well today on really going into the weekend. Football this weekend, great things. But I wanted to put out a mini video today, nothing crazy. But I think going over this defensive line is one of the most important things because as much as I don't like the scheme, the corners, but giving a lot of cushion, not really being physical, I feel like at certain times you're not going to get much out of your defensive line, because of that reason, being very passive. But coming off the Cleveland Browns game, the Eagles got 5 sacks. This has been like their best game as a defense. Really, when it comes to the sack numbers, they've been pretty damn good coming off of that one game. Hopefully more this coming Sunday against the New York Giants. But one thing particularly I want to talk about is this defensive line because it is very lackluster this year. We could say it's coaching. We could say that obviously they paid the wrong guys and Bryce Huff, and we're seeing him in a 4-point stance, and hopefully he's going to produce a little bit more technique wise. At least more of a stronger get off would really help him going forward. But I gotta say, after this season entirely, you could be losing a few players. Now, Brandon Graham is probably going to retire unless the Eagles bring him back. If they want him back, he'll come back for another year. If not, he'll probably retire. Josh Sweat was restructured contract, $13-14 million, fully guaranteed. So I think, and Josh Sweat, I've been very, very disappointed in this year, totally disappointed this year. I had him really getting a double-digit sack season this season, and he's just been nothing but just not good enough for me. Nolan Smith, he's been really doing nothing. I thought he played really good in containment last week, but not just good enough for me at all. But I think one player, and there's probably a couple players, honestly, that are going to be here for years, or, either you want to see players, how they succeed, how they produce over time because they have more years left on their contract. But I got to say, Moro Ojomo, my God, he's had a fantastic year. Statistics for Moro Ojomo so far, at least ranking, okay, 11.9% pressure, highest out of any DT on the team, okay? Gives the most pressure. And I've seen it every single week. Moro Ojomo getting in the backfield. I mean, this guy came out of college as a 7th-round pick as not a dominant pass rusher. There was flashes of it, but he was more of a run stuffer coming out of college, and I don't know what the Eagles did, but they brought the best out of him so far. 15.9% pass rush win rate, highest in DT from the 23 draft class, which is great. He's 5th highest of any DT in the NFL. And let me tell you something. If guys deserve more playing time and more reps, it's going to be Moro Ojomo for the 2024 season going into Week 6 against the New York Giants and beyond. This is big because now you have to start thinking, look, Jalen Carter, you know what I mean? I think he's got the most talent. I just don't think the coaches are just doing right. Mentally, I don't think these guys are prepared. I don't like the way they practice. I think there's a lot that goes into mentally and physically being focused and being there on game day because Jalen Carter will show up and then not show up and then show up. It's just there's way too much inconsistency. And I can't say that every player on this defense has no skill set and they're just all bad players. We know that's not the case. Jordan Davis, 3rd year as a Philadelphia Eagle right now, and a lot on his plate. With not really panning out last year, a lot of players did it. He kind of showed up beginning of the year and then really disappeared at the end of the year. So I think Jordan Davis is very crucial going forward because the Eagles will probably not sign him, after next season in 25 when he's going to become an unrestricted free agent, or unless, they pick up the 5th-year option or whatever they do, which I highly doubt they're going to do that. But Moro Ojomo is standing out. getting more pressures than anybody on the defensive line right now. I mean, even him and Thomas Booker. Like, Thomas Booker was just out of nowhere this past offseason program in training camp. What he did in the preseason games, the pressure against the run, just getting pressure in general. Thomas Booker, Moro Ojomo. I'm not saying they're the future starters, but Moro Ojomo as a good rotational piece, who knows what he could turn into with better coaching, more coaching down the line for him as a 7th-round pick, man. It's absolutely amazing. But, there's a lot to be said because Milton Williams is not having the best year that we all thought he was going to have. And I don't know. I've seen what he did in the offseason program, and I've seen other things, but games are games. And, if you're not producing in games, that's what happens. Milton Williams only has like a sack and a half, 1.5. That's it. Really nothing much. Is he being as disruptive as I thought he was going to be? Not really. You know what I mean? So I think there's going to be some definite changes going into 25, depending how the rest of this year goes. Milton Williams could have a breakout season this year, but the ends have been lackluster. Bad contracts to Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat, just very, very disappointed in. And then really with the DTs, like, I feel great about Jalen Carter. And Moro Ojomo, to me, is just, man, he has been doing everything. On the line, and whether they run stunts or they're doing different things, it definitely helps getting pressure on the quarterback, no doubt. But like I said, this is the first year for the Philadelphia Eagles where the defensive line has never looked this bad. We've always had good defensive lines for years. This is the first year where it, like I said, looks very lackluster. Even before going to the season, I didn't feel too comfortable with it. There was a lot of upside, but a lot of what ifs. And when there's too many what ifs, it's you're gambling at this point, and that's where I was afraid that this was going to happen this year. Vic Fangio dealing with a brand new roster under his belt, trying to get some of his own players. Fletcher Cox obviously was a big loss for the offseason program. As much as Kelsey might seem to be a big loss for the offense, definitely Fletcher Cox in the rotation. I think one of the best players that played last year. That really, as a veteran, kept the sound and mind of this defense alive. He really kept. I thought he gelled the defense together, as much as he possibly could, and the downfall that we had last year. So I thought he was really a big loss. So Howie Roseman, the Brandon Graham thing is just if they want to bring him back, they can. So Graham could walk. Sweat is definitely walking, and Milton Williams could be walking. So going to next year's draft, I understand it's very early, but we're just talking about just in general right now, going into week 6, what everything looks like right now. Potentially losing 3 guys on the defensive line, what they do with Bryce Huff at the end of the year, if he has a comeback year this year or something like that, I don't know. He is getting better, but I'm just trying to grab straws right now just because they have him in a good technique, finally, after all this time. And that's where... that's where I get a little crazy. At times, so we'll find out what happens to the rest of the season. But Moro Ojomo is really pushed himself to, I'm not saying he'll be a starting DT in the league, especially for us. He'll be a nice rotational guy for us. But, I mean, that's a good sign to have the rotational guys there that are working behind. And I think definitely needs more snaps, no doubt, going forward. And, we'll just see what happens. You know what I mean? So I think this whole defensive line needs a rework, no doubt, because it looks like Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff. It just seems, it's not looking too great. Not looking too great right now. But let me know what you guys think about, should they re-sign Milton Williams? How have you liked Moro Ojomo so far? Do you think this defensive line needs a pure rebuild going forward? Okay, and let me know what you guys think. Mini video for the afternoon. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys are having a good day. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you definitely like the video. Helps the channel out tremendously. Thank you for all the support. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'll see you on Sunday. Shakes, what up? Follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.